Are you greedy? Well, most of us would say, no, not me. But what did Jesus have to say about greed? Jesus said, guard against greed. Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said comes from Luke 12, verse 15. We'll be reading a little bit more from Luke 12 and reading in the New Living Translation. So we'll start with verse 15. Then he said, beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own. Now, in context here, in Luke 12, Jesus was teaching the crowd about hypocrisy. He was saying that everything's secret will be revealed. He mentioned that if God takes care of the sparrows, won't he take care of us? And then he got this question from the crowd, basically, hey, Jesus, my brother won't share his inheritance. Will you tell him to do that? And Jesus responded, who made me a judge? You know, oftentimes Jesus answered questions with questions. In fact, he asked way more questions than he answered. And so this was that response. And in verse 15, Jesus gives two warnings. He says, first, beware, and then guard against greed. So basically, like, watch out and protect yourself. Now, Jesus uses a very strong Greek word for greed. It's pleonexia, and it's a very, very extreme greed for wealth or material gain. You know, the big word avarice means that as well. Fraudulent, extortion kind of greed, covetousness. And it's this overwhelming desire to have more. And it's about heart, that desire to have more and more and more. And to emphasize the point that this kind of greed is something that we should watch out for and protect ourselves from, Jesus continues here in Luke 12. Let's pick up in verse 17. He said to himself, what should I do? Jesus is telling a parable here. I don't have enough room for all my crops. Then he said, I know, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. And I'll sit back and I'll say to myself, my friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for? Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. Now, before we go on, Jesus is making the analogy here of a rich person trying to decide what they're going to do with all of their stuff. And in our culture today, that's kind of who we are. I mean, we have so much stuff that we, and me included, rent storage buildings to put more stuff in that we hardly ever see. Jesus goes on from here to teach about not worrying. It's not just about money and possessions, it's about heart and priority. Protecting your heart from greed is all about our priorities. And here's what Jesus said, Luke 12:31. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and he will give you everything you need. So don't be afraid, little flock, for it gives your Father great happiness to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need. This will store up treasure for you in heaven. And the purses of heaven never get old or develop holes. Your treasure will be safe. No thief can steal it, and no moth can destroy it. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. So where's your treasure? What's most important? What priorities are you seeking? Jesus said, watch your heart. Beware. Watch out. Jesus said, guard against greed. How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really does mean a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day. And I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.